20 minutes goes by, and eventually you pull in front of the spectacle that is the Chelsea Arms Hotel. 3-story hotel that has all the beautiful architecture that you would expect for a place that rich folk would come to and stay while they're in London. You can see that the amber paneled windows light up almost like stars in the sky. They burn brighter than the lampposts as well. You can see that some of them aren't currently lit up. But again, another contrasting scene towards Irvin's car and the place that you'll be staying. You can see people walking in and out of the entrance right now, some wearing fur coats, others top hats and whatnot, and they're going about their business in London. And as you sort of peer beyond the entrance, you can see a beautiful foyer awaiting you.
Look, my friends, I know Julius is indeed a well-kept and a man who loves a grand lifestyle, but should we be so bold as to entertain such? It's quite decadent. Is this not taking advantage?
Taking advantage? He told us that we could. That he's got us, and this is where we've gotten ourselves. And that was a long drive for Irving, so I don't think we should trek back. I would much rather go to bed, or like at least wash my feet.
I just go up to Sydney as easy up, mate. It's nice to play amongst the rich. Think of it like going to a zoo.
Me driving through rich suburbs.
Yeah. he kind of like of course, sure. I'm sure we can pay him back one day. Knowing full well that he never could in his wildest dreams. Yes, they'll make their way into the foyer.
All right. As you guys make your way out of the car and into the foyer, or the foyer, if you're inclined, you are
I believe it's pronounced foyer, actually.
You guys are immediately met with this, like, the tranquil and beautiful sound of ivory. You see that they've got a live pianist that sets the scene of this place in a beautiful spectacle. Nearby, you can see that there is a lounge where many well-to-do sit and drink and meet, smoke cigars, and, enjoy the Chelsea Arm Hotel. It's quite lavish. Off in the distance, as you enter the foyer, you can also see the check-in desk, where there is currently a individual standing there wearing a very fine suit. Who approaches?
I will, yeah. I'll come up and... Do I have familiar... I have been here before, right? Probably booking for the professor or something. I guess
it might have been one of your previous employers may have frequented here.
Sure.
I did send you some locations just for your reference for places that you and Professor Smith, may have frequented. Professor Smith, I don't believe, has frequented here.
Right. Well, yeah, I approach anyway. Mate, looking for 2 rooms, twin beds, on Professor Julius Smith's account.
Very well. You see that this individual begins to make the arrangements that need to be done. But before we get too far into this, can I get a persuasion check from you?
Oh.
Woohoo.
Does he believe a man such as you would go on Julius's account?
That's a 32. So yeah, regular success.
Regular success. I must inquire, Irvin. Are you intended to stay here in our establishment?
Oh yes, I will. I'll be taking the room with my new friend Sydney here.
One moment. You see this individual walk off to where they would hold the phone, and they seem to be making a phone call.
Oh no.
There is another awkward pause between you all. Does anyone break it?
Is this any kind of in the mix of it, and probably also to Abigail, since she's getting a fair picture that this sort of lifestyle is closest to her. Is this normal to be making a phone call as a part of a security process? Or
Abigail maybe clops up to the desk, and she presents herself quite. She's very well dressed. She's very well put together, and she goes. And also, have we missed dinner? Is it too late for dinner? And she's trying to, I guess, show herself off a little bit in the fact that she's quite well put together and with this group.
Roll a persuasion check.
Really, she didn't really answer my question. I failed to.
I don't think she did. No.
I think her intervening is no. This is not normal.
It is very funny to have an old man be like, "Is this normal?" And he just walks away.
Sorry, what am I doing? Persuasion. Okay.
Persuasion is something that I have nothing in.
Persuasion's at 50, and I rolled a 72.
Oh, damn.
You haven't missed your meal.
Okay.
Let us check you in first.
Blink.
You rolled a 72 over 50, right?
Oh my.
1 moment. I shan't be long. You see them.
Of course.
I turn around to Sydney.
As Abigail does that, Sydney looks over to Millie. Is that usual?
I think I was going to say Abigail's feeling a little bit embarrassed that she can tell that there's an issue with her company. And she looks to Irving. She says, if maybe you trimmed your beard a little bit, they wouldn't have to make phone calls.
Oh, Abigail, now we must be polite in the company of others, and we're not to judge the appearance of others. For we would not like others to do that to us.
It's not a standard procedure because I've never had this done to me before.
Well, have you ever asked to put something else on a very famous professor's account?
Yes, all the time. I know Professor Smith very well.
How about we just stop making quite so big a scene and perhaps...
Yes, Sydney, how about you go and sit over with Millie and just by the comfy sofas over there, and I'm sure we'll have this squared away shortly, and then, like you said, we'll be able to have a good bath and a nice rest. I think that's what we all need, wouldn't you agree?
Yes. She grabs Millie and walks away.
The host eventually does come back as you guys pull yourselves away. All seems to be in order. Your rooms will be prepared. If you would like to partake in the dinner service that is currently available for the next hour. Amenities, of course, supplied, and if you are looking for recreationals, there are things around the city we can recommend. Pubs and other dining options, of course.
Yes, we would greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And spare no expense. We can afford it all. Thank you very much.
Very well.
Thank
Enjoy your stay at the Chelsea Arms Hotel. If there is anything that you would be requiring, please inquire with me.
You just know internally. You just know internally that man is like that little shit.
Yeah.
I don't get paid enough
to deal with this.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Should we all go freshen up, Irving, and meet back in the foyer in about half an hour?
I think that would be best. Yes.
All right. You guys make your way up to your rooms using the keys that you were given by the host, and you find your rooms to be in spectacular form. Probably better than most living quarters you might have been staying in recently. It is quite lavish. They have crystal and silver. It does seem that you are afforded the hospitality of the well-to-do. What would you like to do up here?
My goodness, this This apartment is larger than my house.
Oh, it's nights like these that make sleeping in the car all those other nights worth it, mate.
What does one do here? He's like overwhelmed by just the extravagance of it, and doesn't quite know like how to hold himself. So I really do feel. I just don't want to put the professor out. You understand? I just. All right, I'll go inside.
Yeah.
As you walk inside down the hall and towards the main living space of where you're currently staying, just off from the bedroom, you look out across London and it's beautiful lamp-lit streets. Can't help but wonder about all the stories that are happening out there right now in this moment. You remind yourself that you're in your own story right now, sharing it with Irvin. Is there anything in particular that you would like to do at this juncture?
It is at this point that I realized you were talking to me and not everyone.
In fact, you know what? Let's say that scene setup is for both parties in both of their rooms.
Yeah.
Because that was a good setup.
It was good.
Yeah.
Well done, Dre.
Yeah, well done. Look at you, covering every base.
Yeah.
I think he takes a moment as he kind of looks around. I think this is the first time. It's the first time in private that Sydney and Irvin have definitely been alone. And he goes, starts with the small talk, really. So you're a driver, you say? Is this the? Does one ever get used to this sort of And he looks around, environment, as it were.
Oh, it's not usually my scene, but it's nice to dabble in it every now and then when it's what the client requires, you know?
And how long have you known Julius then?
Oh, we go way back, mate. We go way back. As ever, Irving's not giving too much away.
Yeah. Sydney not kind of like not quite reading this at the moment. Will kind of continue further, and as he like finds the simplest chair, and that I use that term lightly, the simplest chair, which is still this ornate red and gold number that he like uncomfortably sits down and doesn't quite relax into it. He just kind of like rigidly sits upright in it. So, and you can just hear him. So are you a in his employ, a usual driver? Have you known him personally? I'm curious. If we're going to be staying together, it's probably good for us to get to know each other.
Oh, I've been driving him around for a long time. How about you? How do you know the professor? Quickly deflect.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, funny you ask. I've been what you would call pen pals, as it were. Don't know if that's a term that was around in 1920s, but it is now. Pen pals with the professor. We would correspond with one another around all sorts of academia, literature, archaeology, and good to peck each other's brain, and we'd lean on one another in for certain tragedies that befall men of our age. Once you get to my age, they begin to accumulate. And he realizes immediately he's brought the mood down. Doesn't quite know how to dig himself out of that conversation.
As that's been happening, this is a nice enough hotel that probably has a newspaper service. And all this while, I've grabbed the newspaper and I've laid down on one of the beds there. I haven't even taken my shoes off. And I'm just like, grunts and sort of acknowledgement and just starts flicking through the paper.
I love it. At this exact moment, During this exact conversation, Abigail, Millie, you're welcomed by your room.
So,
Well, she's like walking backwards through the door, like, check it out.
this is well, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this.
It's very nice. I mean, it's, you know, it's much nicer than the home I live in back home. But, you know, whenever me and my family go on holidays, I always like to stay at a place like this. It's just, you know, a little luxury for us, you know?
Of course. How long did you say you'd been here in London?
I've been in London for 3 days now.
Right.
Mhm.
And how has it been for you so far?
Different. The buildings are so tall, the crowds are very large, there's more restaurants and shops than I've ever seen before, there's buses and trams and I don't know, everyone's wearing, you know, different things, and she kind of like looks you up and down, like it's very dandy. So
Yes, it's a lot more fashionable than what I'm used to.
But yeah, what about you? How long have you been in London for? You say that you travel a lot, so you've probably seen a lot of the big cities.
I have. I just arrived here this morning, actually. On the train. I wasn't planning to stay all that long until all of that today.
Well,
What?
it's awkward. Well, I didn't mean to force you to stay here. I just thought that, you know, all of us were travelers, and, you know, travelers get together, and when you're in a new city, everyone's just making new friends, and that's what everyone's doing. But now I feel a bit silly because not everyone's looking to stay. So, but that's okay. And she like turns around so you can't see her face anymore.
Yeah. I didn't mean to imply that this is bad. In fact, I haven't had the chance to meet with anyone or to do something nice with anyone for a long time. The schedule of my performances is so rigid. You see, I don't really get much chance to talk. I'm sorry if I...
Millie, give me a sanity check.
Okay.
A sanity check.
83.
83 fail.
It's a fail. Yep.
This place reminds you
Yeah.
so much of everything that has happened. There is almost too much happening in your mind, and without realizing it, you start to hyperventilate. Your vision begins to blur. Your neck begins to become very hot, and this high-pitched tone starts to set in, and your hands are squeezing as tight as they can. Abigail, you clearly see this happening right now. Millie, you are going to lose 1 sanity at this point. Abigail, the scene's yours.
I didn't mean to upset you. This is just supposed to be a good thing, yeah? Like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
No, I'm offended. I'm not offended. And she kind of like maybe ushers Millie into the bathroom that's in our suite, and she's like, "It's okay." And she turns in the bath and makes sure it's nice and warm. And she's like, "You just have your time here, and then you don't even have to stay. You can go. I'm happy to have this room to myself. That's fine."
No, it's good. I'm sorry.
Do you miss your home, or do you?
No, I don't. I don't miss it at all.
Okay, well, you wash your face because that's what I do when I get upset, and I'm gonna you just chill. I'll be right back. And Abigail is like, fuck, and she runs to Sydney's room to get a more fatherly objective on all of this. So she's like tip-tapping, knocking on Sydney's door.
As your door swings open, you can see that someone was just about to knock on it. They have a cart with a silver platter on there. They also have an ice bucket with some bubbly in it, some champagne. They're surprised with you suddenly being there, and you're also surprised that someone was standing at your door. Hello.
Hello. We're having a little bit of a personal issue right now. So if you could just pop it on the table and then leave.
Of course. I'll take it in right now.
Okay, cool. And then without
wheels in the cart,
even thinking, Abigail's like out of the room to go find Sydney.
Right. Interrupting your awkward silence, Irvin and Sydney, as Irvin's going through the paper, you hear a sudden knock on the door, and it's rapid, correct?
It's yeah.
I think Sydney will take the moment immediately. It's like, okay, I'll get it. Like anything to get off the chair. It's like, oh, good, like something to take me away from the room. And he'll like move over and open it, and he's looking like forward, and then he looks down.
She's average height.
How was average?
Nah, I don't know. She can be small. That's cute. She can be small. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
She goes, I think I made Millie upset about being poor.
Would you like to come in?
She's crying, and I didn't mean to upset her. Like I'm just upset because I thought she was my friend, and now I've made her upset. So
no, dear Abigail, slow down. Tell me. Take a deep breath. In.
And I yell out, "What's that? You ready to go down to dinner now?"
No. I mean, no. I mean, you can come too if you like, but just have a shower first.
Slowly but surely. What happened?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
We were in the room and we were talking, and then I was like, let's enjoy it in the big room, and she just started freaking out on me. She's in the bathroom. I don't know if we should just leave her, or I don't know if we should talk to her, or maybe she needs to go. I think you should just come. And then she grabs Sydney's hand and pulls it back to the other room.
It's like, and he looks into an identically lavish room, and he clocks at they're all the same, aren't they?
As you guys walk in there, and you can see that the person that brought the room service is standing there. Will that be all?
Yes, why are you still here?
They linger a few moments longer, and they look at you, and they're almost expecting something.
I'm gonna make a check on. Oh,
I got it.
Oh, goddamn tipping culture.
She pulls out. Oh my god! I didn't do my research on currency exchange.
I bet you give more than is needed.
I give £5. Is that a lot?
Very generous.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
Have a nice night, miss. If there's anything that you need.
She kisses it and she gives it to him. She's like, okay, toodaloo, goodbye.
Thank you very much.
He's going out on the town tonight.
What's this? Points to the you've seen. Did you sign this?
Wait, Jared, what are you getting at?
Did you sign the note? I think you signed the £5.
Oh, it's a. Oh no, I kissed it.
You kissed it. Okay, cool.
It's just a little
kiss.
You've
got some lipstick on there. All right. Okay.
And it works as a fingerprint because I'm Abigail Abbott on one day. Anyway, we're having a quite serious moment, but my name's Abigail Abbott. Thank you.
Good luck. Hurries on out of there.
Always hustler.
All right, Millie, how do they find you?
I think if she was in the bathroom, she would not have moved. In fact, I think she would have probably, I think, just sunk to the floor, trembling, on the ground, her eyes shut so she can mentally block everything that she's seeing before her eyes. And just sort of sitting there, probably actually sort of head hung, arms over, just sort of sitting there in her tatty clothes, sort of in the corner of the bathroom. Yeah.
So I think and by the way, just for reference, in today's money, the amount of money that Chelsea handed over was in Australian just over $400.
Hey, can we redact that? I don't fuck you guys. I didn't know. I wanted to give like the equivalent of like $50. Please, I don't know anything about history, guys.
So
please,
that's actually that's about £1, because if you do the equation, £1 is about £43 today, which is about $80 in Australian.
Please, Dred, £1. No, fine. I'm dumb. It's fine.
That man will have his own side adventure that we'll find out about.
He's really happy now.
I'm very excited for what is going to happen with that individual.
I am going to, after this session, go do a little bit of research, and I'm gonna study up. I'm sorry that I didn't.
Don't even be sorry. It's one of the amazing things about Call of Cthulhu is that like there is so much to research and learn and sort of like grow and whatnot. But I think it's actually a lot of fun that you just gave someone $400.
It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting it happen.
Yeah, you saw the reaction. He was very like, wow. And you kissed it too. So
so Sydney will politely, before knocking, he'll go, Millie, and he'll give a light tap on the door.
Yeah.
Are you quite all right, my dear?
I'm fine. It's just I wasn't quite expecting all this.
Oh dear. It can be quite overwhelming, can't it?
Yes, it's I think I have offended Abigail, and I didn't mean to.
Why? I can't imagine why you should think that. It's a noble thought, of course. We all want to take care of those we speak to and those we act upon, but of course it's usually tends to be the case that we get within our own heads, and we tend to blow it up into this. Why, I tell you what, I used to do that with my wife all the time. I would say a word to her, and I'd read an expression on her face, and to my mind it was I had offended her, but really she found it, what was the word she used? Endearingly cute is what she called it, and it tended to be that this was a woman that I had known for 40 years at that point, and even then I could get so wrapped up in what I imagined to be the truth that I worked myself into a tizzy, and really there was nothing but love and appreciation, and just we tend to forget that sometimes it is okay to sit in genuine connection with one another, lest we forget why we've only known each other for a few hours, and while I have no doubt the more time we spend with one another, we'll get on each other's nerves, but for now, I feel we are in the, what you would call the honeymoon period. So, how about the four of us?
Session 1, if you will.
Yes, the first session. How about the four of us? We wipe our tears. We adjust our shirts. We put the hat, doff it correctly. We spruce ourselves up, and we have a fine meal that would cost more than we would make in 6 months.
She would slowly sort of come out of the bathroom, get herself up as you're talking, and you'd see that her eyes are like she's been crying heavily, very heavily, and her skin of her face is all blotchy. Far much more so than if she was just worried if she'd upset somebody by saying something a bit crass or a bit offensive. And she sort of just says, "Yes, I have been awfully silly. I'm sorry to have worried everybody."
No.
And it's just that you see, I grew up in a place not dissimilar from this, and it was not very nice for me. And I suppose it just made me remember things that I thought I'd forgotten. I'm sorry. It's very embarrassing.
No, absolutely no need to apologize. You are in a brand new space with brand new people, and you're on a brand new adventure. You are essentially Marco Polo. Do you know who Marco Polo is?
I'm afraid I don't know.
Well, 30th century adventurer he was, went on grand trips, met exotic cultures, strange customs, stranger than London, believe you me, and wonders beyond his wildest dreams. And, well, he would bring back stories of wealth, of adventure, of knowledge, and well, how about we treat this as an opportunity to tell our own adventure, to be our own Marco Polos. Of course, first we'll need to shower and get changed and then come down for a lavish dinner, because I am very much not dressed for the occasion, but I did spy some fancy outfits in my room. So,
right.
How about we make a show of it?
Yes, I think you're right. It doesn't do well to get caught up on the past. That sounds like a grand idea.
Well, just remember, my dear, the past is always there, whether we like it to or not, and it is there for us to either take on board or to disregard. But the decision on what we do with it is completely up to us, and that is the joy of it. We have that choice, always.
All right, Sydney. Yes, I'll thank you for talking to me.
I've rambled on far too enough. I should leave you two girls together, and I'll go back to the quiet man reading his newspapers, and I'll talk his head off instead. How about that?
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Abigail. I didn't mean to.
No, I just wanted you to be okay, and I thought, I don't know, I just didn't want to upset you anymore. But I think we can. Maybe we'll get out of here for a little bit, and we don't even have to stay here. Maybe we stay here one night, and then tomorrow night you can pick the next place.
It's fine. I don't know anywhere in London. This is good. It just shocked me. I'm over it. It's completely okay.
Well, and then as I guess Sydney's leaving the room, Abigail's kind of ushering Millie into the bathroom, and cue makeover montage. Not makeover montage, but just getting ready montage.
All right.
They get ready together.
Yeah.
So, going through your various luggage and things that have been supplied to you, I'll have you describe what your new attire is going to look like. But before we do, the room service that was ordered to you has a card, Abigail, and it says from Professor Smith, "Enjoy your stay."
See, it's so fun, guys. See, and she kind of shows. I don't know. Abigail has no idea what's wrong with Millie, but she's like, "See, everything's fine. Like, Professor Smith wants us to have a good time."
And as you open up the silver platter, you can see that there's caviar there. There's also some chocolates. There's some fresh fruits as well. It's a nice little welcome room service for you. It does seem that Professor Smith does spoil you a bit. But you and Millie have a nice little treat for yourselves.
I love that. We drinking some champagne, having some caviar.
Yeah.
Just,
a tiny bit rowdy.
Only go to their room, not to...
Millie, you made the right choice bunking with Abigail.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be... do you guys think that Sydney would have seen this on the way out, or is this sort of just like for the two of you?
I think Abigail is really set on this group being a thing, so maybe instead of me and Millie hanging out, I put the platter into Millie's hands, I grabbed the ice bucket with the champagne, and I it's wholesome. We follow Sydney out, we go to the boys' room, and we all kind of like get to know each other over some nibbles and wine.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
I would like that.
So are you guys deciding then not to go to the dinner service, but instead just to have your little meal up here, or you still want to try and make the dinner service?
Maybe that's what happens. We were gonna go to the dinner service and we end up just like
hanging out.
Yeah, hanging out. That's sweet.
I really like that as a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the nibbles are nice. There is like cheese here, imported cheese. There is some cold cuts as well. So you have your pastrami, you have your your salamis and all that sort of stuff that's been imported. Yeah, so it's very, very tasty for you guys to share. And I guess that's how you spend your night, and then you retire till the next day. Sleep takes you, and as it does, you may or may not dream. However, we won't cover that tonight. You are eventually woken by the warm, radiant sun as it beams through your windows, and you look out to see the reflecting glass of London. You hear the sound of other automobiles in locomotion, as well as the honks that are being given by the drivers. While this is a nice place in London, it doesn't mean that it is not touched by industry and by civilization. As you all gather yourselves ready for the next day, you do know that you have at least a couple of days stay here until you check out, and also until the lecture. So at this point, you guys have some time to explore London, to sort of explore your own characters' stories, or if there's anything else that you want to check out in London here, or any business that you want to see to. If you guys are ready to move on to the lecture, that is also an option as well. So we don't have to explore London.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten a lot of good character development here, so we can sort of writer's room, like montage, if you will, if you guys want, where you guys spend the day going to other beautiful places in London, and maybe we can just go around the table and say what we did or saw, or come up with what we did.
I like that.
Yeah. So is that what we want to move to the lecture?
I think so. There's nothing like that's pulling on me to explore or anything.
No.
Yeah, for Abigail anyway, but I would love to see a scene from anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel like we've had a lot of these are the wholesome interactions, right?
Yeah.
From episode 1. As I'm sure it'll stay that way the entire way going forward.
Millie's moment, I had a moment of like, oh, that's right. This is gonna suck. I was like, damn it. I was like, I just kind of wanted to hang out.
I'm making those connections now. We're building the stakes, right? So we're meant to sort of like build these connections, and then that's when we wait on them, right? Yeah. Okay. So we're moving on. So day 2. What happens on day 2, guys? We'll go around and we'll say one thing that happens on that day, and it'll become true. So essentially, we're adding it to the canon. There's no checks or anything like that. We're just building the narrative, and as we sort of like build and add that to the continuity in the narrative, it still adds that narrative weight to your character's connections. So don't be afraid to get creative with it, or add something to a character development between multiple characters or one other character or whatnot, or even take the time to work it out with each other. And then we'll move on to the day of the lecture. I will let you know that invitations are sent to you to join the lecture, and that the lecture's name is the event's called the Challenger Lecture, and it's held on January 3rd, 1923. So the events that are about to
Did Abigail, is she going to help out?
Yes. So it does seem that the professor has it did send correspondence to you via telegram, letting you know that if there's anything you need for it, let him know. And he also sent you the cliff notes of the lecture. So what I'll do is I'll try and get you that information so that you are able to sort of like get ready for this lecture. And in fact, I'm thinking what we might do is maybe we end a little bit early so that we can make sure that lecture has got a little bit more extra weight to it for Abigail to run through it.
Yeah.
That way we can kind of make it a bit more of a spectacle, and I can give you the clip
That'd
notes
be
for
really
it.
cool.
Yeah. So
There you go, Chelsea.
yeah, saying that, what we'll check tonight then is if you guys want to play a little bit extra, we can explore London, or we can do the writer's room situation and end early. So if we want a little bit more extra playtime, we can explore London. If we
Jared,
want,
it's totally on you.
Yeah.
I was just gonna. That was a flavor thing
I
for me.
I kind of love it. So I want to send you all the cliff notes for the lecture.
All right,
And
and we'll run it together.
You and I
We
are
should
going
choreograph
to, we're
it.
going to come up with a performance for the lecture, and it's going to be
Great
great.
presentation.
So
Yeah.
good.
So
Yep.
it's not going to be a cliffhanger tonight. I love ending on a cliffhanger when I run things, but I think
What's
the cliffhanger is the
lecture gonna be
show.
like?
Yeah, so we're going to have a great show next week for the lecture, and we'll work
You know what?
together.
Like, we don't need a cliffhanger. Like, all you listeners, enjoy the fact that there's not a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tonight,
Because it's not
no
going to happen again,
cliffhanger.
probably.
So did we want to do the I know it's up to me, but I've still got time. If you guys got time, if you want to do,
I'm chilling
if you-
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to play a little bit more, going around London and seeing the sights and role playing with each other, I'm open for that. If we wanted to end a little bit earlier tonight, we can also do that as well. We can add the
also-
truths. And sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, we could do, if we want, like, as you said, that option, we could do just the truths writers room, and then we can do a little, if you want to just chat more afterwards as like
Yeah.
a post thing, we could always
Yeah,
do
we can
that as
definitely
well.
do that. We are so if everyone at home as well, we are going to.
Chat.
Hey, chat. You listening? Please be listening. We are going to record a little post segment as well that is going to be for Patreon followers. So, and we'll release that for Patreon people so that they can just see the after game chat. But maybe to celebrate the first one, we do that out in the open and start that next week. So we can do an after game chat to sort of show you what it's going to look like the first time, and then you can see what that. Exactly right. It's like, hey, here's a taste. Here's a taste.
little
Just a little taste.
Yep.
And then you guys can sort of see what we're going to be putting into the Patreon. You can see us talk about the game and whatnot. Okay, so I'm thinking writer's room. I like one truth and maybe like one challenge for your character. You don't necessarily, because I like the idea of a challenge too, something that your character has to not necessarily overcome but consider or think about or whatnot. So, should we get weird?
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
get freaky.
All right, let's get weird. Let's go around and say one truth for our character or characters, and let's do the challenge will be imposed by you guys on another character. So how that will work is essentially you guys just think of something that might challenge that character, and then the other person will establish another truth on how they overcame it. We're not going to do any roles. The player will still decide on how that sort of happens, but it gives us a good opportunity to know each other's characters and what a good challenge would be. So it's a bit weird, but I want to see how it goes. If you guys are keen, yeah, you don't have to be keen.
Yeah. No, I like that.
I'm just not
This
sure
is
if I
cool.
entirely understand.
That's
so
okay.
I would like
So-
to see an example.
Okay, you can go after everyone if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so you can see how. Okay, so let's see how this goes. So what's okay? Let's go around and get a truth from everyone first. We will start with you, Abigail, for a truth. What's something that's that happens for Abigail during this day, and you can establish that truth with another character if you like, as you travel around London.
I think it's not so mind blowing, but maybe Abigail is somebody who, you know, life has been very easy for her. And even though she was maybe nervous to come to London, today really reinforced to her that everything's going to be okay. And you're always going to be looked after. Anything that you want to do, you can do it. Anything that you want to happen, it's going to happen. You have, you know, your dad's money to spend, but you still run into a family friend who pays for a luxurious hotel for you. Like, everything's going to be fine. That's Abigail's truth of, like, life is easy and, you know, like, life's not hard. And I think that's why she freaks out when people do get upset around her, because it's like, what do you have to be upset about? Spoiler alert, Abigail doesn't have like a very tragic backstory. If anything, what's tragic about her is that like nothing has happened to her, which I think is gonna like shell shock her. Yeah, pretty bad. So I think that's Abigail's truth.
Yeah, that's true. So it's just a perfect day. Sipping sangria
honestly,
in the sun.
It was like, oh, I'm a bit nervous to go to a new city. Oh, here's my rich uncle.
Yeah.
Put me in a nice hotel room I don't know if that's boring or not, but
no, it's not boring. Tell me, what is something that is lucky that happens on this second day of exploring London that's just absolutely perfect and typical Abigail? Like, what happens?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe she's at a cafe. A cute boy buys her a coffee.
Yep,
she gets given a flower as she walks down the road. Like it's that. Like we're talking about, like, oh, I'm in a movie right now. Like
those things happen. So you do get bought a drink and you do get given a flower. It's a rose from a flower vendor who's trying to earn money, but just gives you the flower for free.
I would like to say that perhaps I buy Millie a rose. It's not like a romantic gesture, but it is like we're two girls. I actually love living our life. So I'm like,
I love that.
So is it more of a they give you the flower and then you buy another one as well?
I think and then we have two and we like walk, and then maybe I get offered the flower, I give it to Millie and I go, one more please, and I buy the next one, and we're kind of like walking around with
that happens. You guys flowers.
I like that.
Mwah. Bellissimo.
Cute.
Okay, Irvin, what happens on day 2 for your character? What's something that's a truth that happens?
So we've all split up as such.
You're driving them around all day.
Thanks, Irvin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Thanks, Evan. Shut
up. No worries, man. I guess I take the moment when they're at the cafe to go, I'll be back in an hour when you're done. And because I actually live in London, I drive off quickly to go see my mum, who's actually very elderly and very sick at the moment. And I would have maybe pinched some of the leftover stuff from the welcome basket last night. Yeah. Maybe some of the chocolates and I don't know. Did anyone dig into the caviar at all, or like?
No, by all means, take it.
No.
I didn't ask permission. I
maybe a couple of spoonfuls from Abigail, but the rest is yours.
So I take some of the nicer things and I go visit my elderly sick mum to.
Oh,
I would have roleplayed that so bad. I would have seen that. That's brilliant. No. We're writers rooming this. This is an establishment. I'm thinking I changed the name of it from Truth to Establishment. I think Establishment fits better.
Yep.
Yeah, Establishment is really good. So we established that happens for Irvin, and it's a beautiful scene that we don't get to see, but that's fine. It's lovely. It's lovely. We our time in London's not over yet, so we do have more London to see too, but incredibly wholesome. And you would have snuck some of the fancy chocolates, I'm guessing, as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Mum is very happy
for this world, and I just want to, give her the best.
I love it. Millie, what's an establishment for day 2 for your character?
I think this is something that probably happen either early in the morning or in the evening. Is that I guess Elliot, if this is something you're interested in, she would ask Irvin to teach her about his car.
All right.
I love that.
Because she's never really seen much of them in her life. So she'd be super interested in this, like, magical thing that can take you so fast from one place to another.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but, once you spend a little time with it, but it all becomes natural, or did for me anyway, and sort of pop open the hood and explain how a car works, which I definitely know how cars
I had your sheet here, but it seems to have disappeared. What?
I can tell you what my skills are if you'd like.
Please. Yes, please.
Yes, yeah.
It's not in my directory. Apparently, you've disappeared.
I am, the ghost that Julian has warned us about.
Spot hidden. Let's get a spot hidden.
Okay.
Everyone has spot hidden.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah.
That is a 58, which is a success by 2 points.
All right.
Nice.
You see some clear signs of multiple parts being here, serial numbers scraped off as well. This is definitely has connections to, organized crime.
Sure. Yep, she'll definitely file that information away for later. But she wouldn't say anything to him because he's being so kind as to come around with us, stay with us, show us around town. So it's not something that she would even think to broach with him. But yeah, she enjoys learning about the car and learning about the fact that it's not a feat of magic, but rather of, science and engineering and all of that sort of thing. Yeah. And then she would, of course, probably take the opportunity to talk a little bit about, like, where we come from, what our lives have been like with Abigail when they have a coffee over the daytime.
I actually love that Millie got Irvin to talk.
Yeah.
Sydney wasn't able to. But yeah, that's amazing. So we've done Abigail's establishment, we've done Irvin's establishment, Millie's establishment. Sydney, what's your establishment?
Yes, Sydney is a bit of an early riser. He always has been. He is an avid watcher of the rising of the sun, so he rises up early and he goes to bed early is generally his day. And now that he's in the hustle and bustle of London, not only does he wake up at the crack of the dawn, but he does, I believe, before everyone else rises, he goes for a walk through the streets of London and just allows his curiosity to clear his path. And he, at one point, finds himself in a kind of a rundown, in an alleyway bookshop, one of those ones that's kind of tucked away in the corner that isn't advertised, and you kind of just stumble upon, brick building, red sign out the front, very, very kindly woman at the counter, and he just starts perusing, and he just starts kind of allowing his eyes to fall where they may, and he has a thought as his eyes pop onto a particular title, because it's a name that he recognizes, and it says Stanislavski. And Stanislavski, Konstantin Stanislavski, to be exact, was a Russian theatre practitioner from the late 1800s, and he was quite prominent within the early 1900s as well. But more importantly, there was a book that he wrote, which was originally in Russian, called An Actor's Work, which An Actor's Work, the two books together actually make what is known today as the method, so the Stanislavski method. But at that point, especially in the 1900s, they were loosely translated. So English translations did exist at that point, but some were inaccurate, some were kind of misinterpreted, and it's what leads to kind of a misinterpretation even today of what the method truly is. But he would sees a very, just like an early English translation, goes, oh, this is something that Abigail would really like. It's acting. It's called An Actor's Work. Or she was quite upset the previous night. Oh, this would be a lovely little gift. And he's read about Stanislavski. He knows the man, so doesn't think much of it. And he buys this book. It's an old it's a leather book with a red cover. Very, very plain, very simple. Has a bit of a bio about the practitioner on the back, and he just sees actor, theatre practitioner, actor's work. Goes, oh yes, I think she would like this. And I think
so sweet.
when they find themselves at the cafe at the middle of the day, he'll kind of just, he won't make a big thing of it, but just kind of goes, more like, oh, I think you would enjoy this, and he'll just kind of very, very nonchalantly and without any sort of pomp just gift Abigail this acting book, as it were.
Oh. That is so sweet.
So good. It's so good. It's so good.
Is it? Yeah, I think.
it's
Are we gonna
actually.
take?
Yeah.
Are we gonna do like a little exchange, or is this right as
I kind of wish that we had. I kind of wish that we had role played
That's
all
nice.
this out. Look, we can always come back and do flashbacks and stuff like that, which is really great as
Exactly,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to send you guys all today's newspaper. It'll be in the handouts, and that is at the cafe that you guys are at. So that's the,
Oh my god! It just came through.
yeah, it's like it's just the headline, but that's the
That's
current.
so
yeah,
cute.
so you guys have got
That's
today's
awesome.
headline as well, which is super cool.
Damn, I'm so
Yeah.
freaking immersed right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you guys can obviously, you guys would have talked about that even briefly at the cafe, which is super awesome. What else? I'm going to establish a truth as well.
Let's hear it.
So-
GM.
Abigail,
Oh my god.
the Chelsea Arms are all up in arms about the amount of money that you handed out to one of the waiters. And they've just been talking so much about you and your generosity, and
We're having great service at this place.
they're really trying to give you the best service that they can. It's actually almost too much.
Okay, listen, I'm handing out pounds from now on. $40, that feels like a good tip.
Yeah.
Is that what we said it was?
Yeah.
A pound's $40?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. No one's getting $400 again. That was
Yeah.
Abigail was smart enough to know. No, that was a one-time thing. I see what you guys are trying to
that
do.
was my new friend. It's very upset. Get the fuck out. This is the first thing that I grabbed out of my purse, and you got it. Congrats on your $400. But yeah, it was a flustered moment. Okay.
Makes me so
Anyway,
happy.
continue. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. So Chad has asked, what is the newspaper article that everyone has? Does someone want to? Oh, that's me again. Does someone want to read that out for chat?
Yep.
January 2nd. Mark keeps sliding. $1 equals 7,260 German marks. That's what I've got.
Hyperinflation.
Hey.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what it says there, and I can also post it to our Discord server if you want to see there. What I'll do is I'll actually set up a handout section for chat. Yeah, that's a lot of marks. So
That's a lot of marks.
yeah, I would say that if you're not handing out as much as you did the first time, it does eventually catch on, and people they do eventually sort of taper off. But the question still lingers in the air why that one person got so much service. Yeah, we don't have to. So much of a tip, but we don't have to go more than that. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's do the challenges quickly. The challenges are: I want everyone to give a challenge to one other player. So we got an even number, which means that you're just going to essentially set up something that you're interested to see what the other character would do. So you're not necessarily trying to make them fail. You're just trying to ask them a question in a sense of what would your character do in this situation? So let's start. Who wants to go first? I know Abigail wants to see an example. So who would like to try?
I shall.
All right, Millie. Who would you like to challenge?
I think as Sydney steps out of this bookstore in this London alley, he'll see just sort of a few meters off to one side in this alley. It's a group of kids, a group of children, maybe about 8 or 9 years old. And there's 3 of them that are picking on one that's a lot smaller, a lot scrawnier, sort of poking him, calling him names. You see that happen sort of 5 meters off to your left or something.
Interesting. I will hold off from that response because there's a few ways he could handle this. I'll just put that there for now. But Sydney will see this. Yeah, you're right. He would come out of the shop and he'll hear it before he sees it, and he spies it from further down the alleyway. And I think at first he'll just start to walk in that direction, and as tends to happen, Sydney is kind of paid no notice. He blends in with the surroundings. He is nondescript. As he gets closer, he kind of gets a full sense of the kerfuffle, as it were. And I think he would, instead of trying to address the kids first, he would probably address the one being bullied, asking, and we don't have to obviously act it out, but he would ask, are you okay? Like, are you all right? Addressing him directly so that this child sees that there's someone that is focusing directly on them, which I think would get some pushback from the kids, who would start to talk back that grandiose kind of like London street kid attitude that it's very
Peaky
kind of like
Blinders vibe.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders vibe.
Touch me, old man.
And it's not that Sydney puts up a big show or anything like that. It's actually probably the opposite, in that through that altercation, it just so happens that more people start to fill the area, become aware, which causes the three kids to go, we can't be bothered. We're bored now, and they leave. So it's not really through anything that Sydney necessarily does. There's no grandstanding, there's no chastising, there's no put him up. It's just he happened to be at the right place at the right time. And I think even as he would go to the child in question and make sure that kid's all right, this child would also have some hesitation, as like, what are you doing? And then just kind of leaves as well. So it's kind of this anticlimactic ending. There's no hero moment. There is no big save. There's just we happened to be at the right place at the right time, and there is no big thank you.
I love that. It's really interesting, actually. Okay, so Sydney, who would you like to challenge?
I would be you know what? Yeah, I would be interested. I think there is a moment for Irvin where, whether this is while we are in the car with you, or whether this is in the hour that Irvin snuck away to go see his mother, there is a moment of potential road rage. There is a potential almost altercation that occurs. There wasn't a crash, but there was maybe someone did start to come out or come off the sidewalk in the path, which caused Irvin's quick thinking to stop. But there is a moment there, and I wonder, would Irvin get into a heated altercation? Would he take it in his stride? Like, would there, especially if this other person does have a slightly aggressive stance, how would Irvin tackle that?
So it's a pedestrian walking right out into the road, you're saying?
Yeah, I'll say, let's give him the net of, we weren't in the car with him. So this is very much when he was on his own.
Okay.
This was when he didn't have the others in or anyone else watching. There's a person that very clearly walked out with purpose.
May I offer, it's on the way to Mum to drop off the goods, because you were like just so excited to see Mum that you might not have noticed the person like suddenly walk out. Yeah,
sure.
Not a fault of your own, but it was just like came out of nowhere.
This person would, as he sees you, there's no apology. There is a finger and an expletive.
No, like being concerned that I might have crashed and ruined the the remains of the gift basket and whatever. Slam on the brakes and see this, realize the situation, and just, I'm assuming cars had horns then. Slam on the horn, lean out the open window and go, "Hey, I'm driving here. We're coming to you."
I'm driving here. It's London, innit? We're not New York.
I absolutely blast the dirt.
I love that.
A bunch of things that will break terms of service.
It's the loudest we've seen Irvin be.
He's not on the clock.
Like it's the loudest we've seen Irvin be.
But again, being that I don't have passengers at the time, and this is during the break, I am letting loose a bit. I think situations I might be a bit more bottling it up a bit, but
But the other thing as well is you almost lost all the goods you were bringing to Mum as well, so that would have also upset you.
Yeah. No, because Irvin does have a bit of aggression bubbling beneath us. Like, he's got an air of professionalism about when he's driving and such, but when the client's not in the car and they're not there to get upset, you know, he's got license to let this out.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Oh, I wonder if it's ever going to come out.
But anyway, before anything can start with this guy, Irving peels off, drives around him, flips the bird as he's going down, or with 2 fingers as it was for, as was the style at the time.
As was the style of the time.
Okay, that brings us to Irvin. Who would you like to challenge? Now, we've had a challenge on...
I think you've got to do Millie.
Yeah, so we've got Millie and Abigail. We can... Then,
but then I do...
You do award. You just do... Then everyone's had one, so you get either... Is it a wild card?
Flip a coin. Sorry, for some reason, I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was like... I always...
Did you do it?
Was Millie challenged?
I have not been challenged yet.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, after the lunch and, you know, before the cafe, she showed the interest in the car, and I'm going to say we're in a park or something, and I'm like, would you like to give her a test drive?
Oh. She would be very scared that she would stuff it up and destroy your car. She feels incredibly indebted to both Abigail and him for like everything that they've been doing. So I think she go, oh no, that's fine. But you can tell that she really wants to. Like in her hearts of hearts, she's saying, no, that's fine. I don't want to break anything. Like I've never done it before, but her eyes are alight with a childish excitement at the prospect of driving it. Yeah.
I think Irving's got a good enough sense to read this and just sort of says, oh, how about as we go along, I tell you a bit more about it and maybe another day.
Cute.
Okay. That sounds like a fair deal. I can go with that.
It's all coming together, guys.
Yeah.
Like you guys are gonna be the best of friends, and that's exactly what I need from you. Okay, so the question is this then. So Abigail's left. Should we all come up with a challenge together for Abigail?
Oh, I was gonna say Beck does me.
You haven't,
and then I'll lead next week.
Yeah, you also haven't given a challenge yet either, right? So yeah. So
if I take a challenge now, I'll be the first to give a challenge next week.
Okay, I like that.
Promise.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, so it's like a rotating.
Yeah, exactly. So who do we want to be the last?
I think
do we all come up with
I'll
one?
do it.
You'll do it? Millie will do it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'm putting down because that's where
that's
you
where I am on
Discord.
Discord. I think what happens with Abigail is as we're coming out of the coffee shop in the afternoon, and the man giving out flowers has gone, gone away, gone to sell his goods elsewhere. I think once he's run out of flowers and we come out of the shop, he'll approach you again and try to ask if you want to go out somewhere with him.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think. Abigail is open to new experiences, and although she is a flirt and will do what she needs to do to, like, be impressionable or like get along very well, I don't necessarily think she's here for like love. Like she's very career driven and she's very passionate about the arts, no matter how ditzy she might seem. But I think she'll entertain it. She'll kind of like,
I love this situation where there is this flower seller that's just like, will you go out with me? I'm not very rich, but you're so fabulous, and I just thought I would take my shot. Like, I would just try.
She doesn't necessarily say no, but she daps him up a bit. She's like, you know, like, I guess I must be so lucky to be able to be talking to somebody as handsome as you, sir. And what's your name? And she kind of just like engages in a conversation. Manuel.
It's a very strange name. It's a very strange
I'm writing this down. Manuel Flower Seller. Florist, if you will.
Florist, if you will.
Manuel.
And she goes, well, I'm in London for the next couple of days, so maybe, you know, I'll think about it and I'll come chat to you when I come get my coffee tomorrow. That's what she says to him.
I'm going to be busy for the next day. I'm actually doing a presentation.
I'm actually, at a lecture at a university? Question mark?
Yeah, it's like at a. It's like a. I think it's at a
smart
lounge.
people.
I think it's. I don't think it's at the university.
Okay.
So I'll get you
with
those
a
details.
professor.
Oh yeah, which professor?
Professor Smith.
Professor Smith?
Yes.
A lecture?
Professor Julius Arthur Smith.
Tomorrow.
Come along. If
Are you inviting me on a date?
Well, I'm going to be on stage, so I can't really like attend with the date, but you can watch and yeah, I'm just, yeah. And you know what? She'll give him a business card. She'll be like, that's my telegram number, Manuel. It was nice to meet you. And she offers her hand.
Thanks, miss.
And if he would like to kiss it, that's what she's used to, but
we'll kiss. Yeah, definitely.
And then that's kind of it. It's not a yes, but it's not. She doesn't like to upset people, so it's not a harsh no either.
Yeah, so Manuel it's a very.
I know I'm not going to be in London forever. I want to bounce around, travel the world.
Yeah, so Manuel practically skips off.
Bless him.
And
Florist.
is thanking his lucky stars. Can I get a spot hidden check from you quickly?
Sure, let me just double check what my thing is in that. Oh, was that 25% I had to get under? Because I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what's all zeros? 100?
It's 100.
Yes.
Cool. So I wrote 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Which is this game's equivalent of a natural 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's skipping along.
You're not exactly sure what that is. It's